All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome everybody back to another video on the channel. Hope you're having a good day. So in this one, we're going to be discussing some pretty major changes that Treyarch plans on implementing into Cold War Zombies very soon. Now, a lot of these changes are going to be, spread out throughout the course of probably the next few months. Some of them are going to be immediate, more or less with Season 1 in the next couple of weeks. A lot of brand new changes are coming to Cold War Zombies, some brand new content, and some additional changes to some of the already existing systems, which are pretty interesting. So I think you guys are going to enjoy today's video. Really quick, if you don't mind leaving a thumbs up on the video if you do enjoy, that's all I ask in return if you enjoy the video. And remember to subscribe if you're new to the channel so that you don't miss any more content like this and you can stay up to date with Cold War Zombies. Now, for those of you who watched my previous Zombies update video, we discussed pretty in detail the next new Zombies map that we're expecting to have. Not a new Zombies map coming with Season 1 per se, but what is going to be DLC 1 for Zombies, if that makes sense. So more or less probably in February, but the map that we're discussing is codenamed Firebase Z, and for those of you who watched that as well, you'll know that this map is argued to have a lot of assets from Kino, and it's likely going to be a similar situation where D Machine is Nocturne Toten plopped into this different environment that it has never been in before. It's not exactly a remake because D Machine does not rely on any of the tropes really that Nocturne Toten originally had. While it is part of the map, you don't really use it a whole lot, and that was kind of the argument I was making. These maps aren't exactly remakes, and I think if they're following this same formula, which it appears from everything we know that they indeed are, not only with Firebase Z, but with another map we're going to get into in a second, Treyarch seems to be juxtaposing a lot of their very classic maps and then dropping them into an entirely different and unique location. And they tried to do a similar thing in BO4, but just they are fundamentally different games, and I think the execution was a lot different. So the formula works for me right now in D Machine, and I think that Firebase Z is going to retain the same information. Now, we do have a pretty big update on what is happening with that map. Now, as soon as I made that update video the other day, I was getting a lot of tweets and screenshots sent to me of some leaked Firebase Z images, and I took a look at these, and typically if there were real leaked screenshots of a new Zombies map, I definitely would not show them in this video. But after a little bit of examination, it's pretty easy to tell that these screenshots are fake, so I'm going to go ahead and show them to you. So these are the screenshots that are going around, and I'm going to come out and say that if you get sent these, or if you happen to see them floating around the internet, they're pretty much entirely fake. You can tell that the HUD is not even remotely close to what we have in Cold War Zombies, and that's obvious. That can change in game development and everything, but I would say that this more or less looks just like a really well crafted BO3 custom that is meant to look like Cold War Zombies, but it doesn't quite hit the mark. There's definitely a few obvious flaws that you can pick out of it if you really try. Now, the concept itself, again, is pretty spot on. It's supposed to be this sort of outdoor, sunny Vietnamese map, and that's the setting that's going to take place, and I also don't think Treyarch is exactly trying to hide that fact. As we discussed in the last video, literally clues within the intel that can be found in the game, as well as different screenshots and just pointers that are on the menus themselves, they're very clearly edging us towards Firebase Z, or where Shinonuma, let's say, remade is going to take place. Now, obviously, it's not going to be Shinonuma remade as you are expecting it, not like a Chronicles redesign or anything. The point I'm making is the concept of these leaked screenshots are sound, but the actual images themselves are definitely fake. These are not on the mark whatsoever, but you can use your imagination and sort of picture what a sunny Vietnamese Zombies map would look like, and you'd probably get something approximating these images. But this is, again, likely to be the map that is technically our first DLC. Now, moving on for some upcoming changes to the existing systems in Cold War Zombies, it looks like the whole upgrading with your weapon classes and also your perks, that kind of thing, is going to be getting some new additions. And I also found it kind of weird, I'm sure a lot of you guys did too, that you would load up Cold War Zombies and you would play through, earn these crystals very quickly, and get the proper level to fully max out everything, and if you really wanted to, you could do this in a day, right? It was a very, very quick process, and it felt a little bit underwhelming for how much dev time they probably put into this. It didn't seem like there was a lot of substance behind this entire system, but it looks like that's going to be changing with some new additions and some brand new actual crystals. Now, this was discovered after some data miners looked through some stuff and found these new textures for different kinds of crystals, and we also knew from even before the game came out, there was a difference between raw Ethereum crystals that you guys are used to earning, and there's also something else called flawless crystals, and it seems like these are obtained via different means. It's possible that they are tied and correlated with maybe certain actions that you do in the game. For example, getting around 50 or getting around 100 might give you some flawless crystals rather than raw ones. We don't know how that's going to play into it, but there's also literal images that unfortunately I can't show you guys of different rarities of crystals as well. There's going to be, like, you know, rare ones, there's epic and legendary. Just like the tier ladder of weapon varieties in Cold War Zombies, so is there also going to be the same concept applied to crystals. Now, and we don't know what the difference is between earning raw crystals. It might just be like playtime, and you may have to do challenges to get some of these rare ones. That's not entirely obvious yet, but the way it's going to play into the existing systems, it looks like not only when like new perks or potentially new skills are added to your creator class, you might have higher tiers that you can continue to upgrade in, right? You might need like 5 of the rare flawless crystals to get Juggernog tier 5 or something like that. Now, interestingly, we do know when Treyarch for sure adds new perks to the game, these are going to be applied retroactively to the previous map. So whatever new perks we happen to get for the rest of the life cycle, we'll be able to go back and use and play with on the machine and stuff like that. So it's going to fundamentally change how you play each map, you know, whenever a new perk gets added, but it also looks like the full upgrade trees for the existing perks will also be expanded. We don't know how that's going to fully play out when we do, but it's like they're expanding the system that's already in place to be a little bit more complex or complicated. And I think this is a really good and interesting move because I'm all for having upgrade skill trees for things in zombies such as perks and weapon classes, of course, but as its implementation currently, I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to agree, it felt a little bit lackluster or shallow, right? It's like there wasn't much to really strive for other than like your very crucial main perks. Other than that, like it felt a little bit underwhelming, so to speak, especially what you would expect out of a fully fledged upgrade tree system like this that you could pretty much do in a day or two if you're on top of it, but they're going to be expanding this pretty greatly, and I'm definitely excited to hear that. Now, as many of you guys know, there's going to be a new Warzone experience with Black Ops Cold War Season 1, but as a Zombies player, you're probably like, well, why do I really care? Well, interestingly, the Warzone integration is going to be basically what Blackout did with BO4, adding Alcatraz into the game. Now, I actually had to go back and edit this because I thought this was public information, but it turns out it's not like officially a thing yet, but you can do some Googling if you like to. I'm not telling you you have to, but if you are curious, they're going to be integrating a version of Mob of the Dead or Alcatraz Island into Warzone. And if you think back and remember during the cycle of BO4, they basically took Blood of the Dead, all of the assets in it, and most of the playable area, and integrated it into their BR mode. And for the most part, it worked pretty well, right? Like, I don't think I really played it a ton. It had a lot of nice, like, zombies references and stuff, and it was basically a map that we had already played in zombies, but was being imported elsewhere. And it's kind of like we're getting the inverse right now, where they're putting Mob of the Dead or Alcatraz Island into Warzone to maybe have further use in Black Ops Cold War. I would not write that theory off at all. And I would imagine there's probably a few of you guys that have a sour taste in your mouth of Alcatraz Island being remade for zombies with Blood of the Dead, because Blood of the Dead really, like, from a storyline perspective, one of the best maps in my opinion, but also the problem with Blood of the Dead is the fundamental game of Black Ops 4 Zombies wasn't fun, so in some sense it didn't really matter how good of a map it actually was because it would have been overshadowed by its very broken and not well put together fundamentals. But Cold War Zombies doesn't really have that problem, so I think we should approach this, if that is the case, with a clear head. The fundamentals of Cold War Zombies are great, they're very fun, and I think that if this had been integrated, if there are planning on doing some kind of Alcatraz reintegration for a zombies map in the future down the road, then we'll have to welcome that. Now, also speaking of maps that are not Firebase Z and also not anything related to Alcatraz, we talked about a map that's going to be featured in Berlin, which is likely to be DLC 2 if everything that we know is slated correctly. DLC 2 should be a brand new map set in Berlin, just like the concept of the machine is going to be virtually a brand new map with hints and sprinkles of Kino der Toten dropped in. I would imagine some of the most iconic elements of that, like the theater and probably the spawn room, are going to be very obvious in that map, map, but it's going to heavily rely on also brand new systems and places. Because this map is much farther out, however, we know a lot less about the Berlin map than we do about Firebase Z, which is probably going to be released sometime around Season 2, or I would say February. Before those brand new maps happen, it looks like Treyarch is going to be implementing and expanding on all of their existing systems and adding brand new zombies game modes in before these new playable boards are released. And I think that's actually the right move to make. If they do add Nocturne Toten as a standalone map with Season 1 just being a straight up survival experience, then this obviously going forward will allow them to cut down future maps into smaller bits of themselves and just play as a, very classic sort of zombies game. Whether or not that's going to happen is a little bit too early to tell, but I'm also going to address one more thing about an update where a lot of people think that the Gobblegum machine is going to be returned in zombies, just like how it was in BO3. And while the model does exist, you can find this in a campaign mission. I don't think that there's any evidence whatsoever that Treyarch intends on bringing back Gobblegums for Cold War Zombies. Would it be cool? Maybe. Would it be interesting? Perhaps. Would it fit into the game? I'm not really sure, but I think that there's very little evidence, if at all, that they would ever add this back into the game. Just because the model exists does not mean whatsoever that they plan on implementing that system that they had in an older game. Black Ops 4 was essentially the epitome of that, and I don't think that really we complained very much at all. I don't think Cold War Zombies necessarily needs Gobblegums. Maybe it could help spice up gameplay and, make a little bit more interesting moments, but I don't think it's a necessary addition, and especially what they're doing with more out-of-game stuff with the menus and perk upgrades and all of the new Ethereum crystals that they're going to be adding, then I don't think Gobblegum have much of a place in this game at the current state, but we'll have to see as this plays out. Either way, that's going to be pretty much it for the video today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think about it down below in the comment section. Are you excited for the brand new Zombies updates, and what also would you like to see Zombies change in the future? Remember to leave a thumbs up if you did enjoy the video, and subscribe to the channel before you go. And I do stream Zombies almost every day over on Twitch. If you guys don't already follow me and would like to come say hi and hang out, the link to that is going to be in the description. I would love to see you over there, but other than that, hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all on the next stream or the next video. Take it easy, and peace out.